Section 3, Happy Stack, Chapter 18, Our Fifth Night in Capri. Becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. Garrett J. White. I then proceeded to tell the voice all about one of the hottest nights that I've ever had with my wife. I don't mean because of the weather. It was magical and completely XXX rated. On our fifth night in Italy, we found ourselves in a luxury five-star boutique hotel called the Hotel Punta Tragara Capri. We'd booked the Monocone suite, and it was big enough to give us space a couple to isolate the kids away from Danielle at night. This gave me the space I needed to seduce my wife. It had been an amazing trip after an eventful day of snorkeling, sailing, and shopping, and I was ready to do all that I could to make it an amazing ending. And it was. The suite was on the top floor of the boutique hotel, allowing us to look down on the insane Faragoloni cliffs and down into the Mediterranean Sea. I was not used to the ocean like it was here. No waves and tons of warm water. Such a different culture than back home in the Pacific Ocean, where it tends to be cold, that I live in Southern California. Sounds absolutely stunning. I had almost forgot that I was sharing all this out loud and came back to the conversation. It was. My wife had selected the resort and it was worth the investment. So, what happened next? I smiled slyly as I looked over to where my wife was on the other side of first class with our daughters. Here we go. So my daughters were exhausted and we put them both to bed. That night was warmer than most nights we'd experienced in Capri's early summer and previous few nights, and it felt amazing to just sit on our isolated deck with just shorts and t-shirts on. My wife and I grabbed a bottle of red wine from the room as well as 2 glasses and headed out to the deck that wrapped around the outside of the suite. The moon was out, the air was warm, the breeze was gentle. I sat there with a slight buzz from the red wine and looked over at my wife, and she looked back at me for a few moments. As we sat and looked at each other, I was taken back to the first few months we were dating over 16 years ago. There was always a spark with us, but over the years, we had lost that spark. Our sex life fell apart, we stopped dating and connecting, and we were headed towards divorce. I know. I remember where you guys were just 2 years ago when I first introduced you to the Megastack on your way to Chicago. Yes, the Megastack changed a ton for me and Danielle. It opened us back up to ourselves and then to each other. And that night sitting on the deck in Capri, the spark had returned. It went off as the original traction came back, feeling just as strong as those first few weeks of dating. She got up and slowly walked over to me, sitting on my lap as we started kissing. Kissing with a passion we had not experienced for over a decade. There were no thoughts of our children sound asleep in the other room. There were no thoughts about business. There were no thoughts about neighbors. There was just the calm, warm Italian breeze, the ocean and the moonlight shining down upon us, lighting up our deck in a way that was completely magical. I slowly took her shirt off, and over the next 60 to 90 minutes, Danielle and I experienced the most intense sexual experience of our lives under the moonlight in Capri as one. One couple, one flesh. It was hard to tell that night where she ended and I began. I know this is sounding like a fucking romance novel, but this is exactly how it felt being in it. You know why, don't you? What do you mean? You know why it felt so magical. It wasn't because you were in Capri. It wasn't because you were in Europe. It was because there was nothing in between you. For the last 2 years, you have dealt with your bullshit with ruthless intensity. I watched you day in and day out master yourself and your rage within the Megastack. 1,000 plus times, you went into the night to find the light, each time returning from the pit with a gift. Another gift that filled you with power and brought you and Danielle just one step closer each time. 2 years later, there in Capri, you two were experiencing what abundance feels like in the have-it-all lifestyle. Not just abundance economically, but abundance in marriage, freedom to be yourself 100%, and freedom for her to be herself 100%. And this is what happened for both of you. On fire connection. At least one with yourself and one with her. Yes, I can see that deeply, and I experienced it. So, what happened next? We made love, over and over and over again. It felt like all night, but it was well of an hour of nonstop lovemaking. And then lying naked, glistening with a small layer of sweat on both of us, we cuddled up on the couch and just looked up at the moon and said nothing. My heart beating and her breathing were the only 2 sounds I could focus on. Wow. Passion, fire, intimacy, sex, connection, marriage, all of the things that the Warrior's Way stands for with men like you, brother. I'm so happy for you. The crazy part, 2 years ago, you two were ready to end it all, get divorced, and be done with each other when we had our first conversation. Question: how does it feel to be in the contrast of those two realities? Knocking on divorce's door in the summer of 2016 to lying naked together, looking at the moon of Capri in the summer of 2018. It feels surreal, honestly. My life has changed so much that it's difficult at times to even recognize the man that I was 2 years ago. Our lives have gone 10x in 2 years. It really is like the man of rage I was in 2016 and 17 has died, and a man of joy that I am in 2018 is reborn. This is what stacking consistently does. It slowly brings mastery to the game of life and allows you to experience deeper and deeper levels of joy and happiness. Truly, at the end of the day, brother, you were born to experience joy, but the only way to get to joy is to be willing to do the work required to get there. You see, the depth of your connection sexually and spiritually in Capri was an effect of the work that you had done the previous 2 years. You were willing to go to hell in order to find heaven. Most are not. That is why the happiness they experience is shallow and temporary. Ultimately, what you're feeling right now is the purpose of life, and I'm so happy for you. So am I. We fell asleep for a bit that night, holding each other there on the couch, and then eventually found our way back into the bedroom and fell asleep until the morning, ending a night that I will never forget my entire life. Well done, well done, well done. So here's the next question. What is the story you're telling yourself right now about what happened? My wife and I are finally one. Yes. And what are the positive feelings you're experiencing because of this story? Joy, happiness, connection, purity, clarity, fire. Question: what initial desires or actions do you notice rise for you with these feelings? I want to do it again. I'm not referencing the sexuality, though of course I want that also. But I want to connect with my wife spiritually again at that level. It was primal. Nothing else mattered at all. I want to leverage that experience and continue to forge a deeper and more profound bond with my wife. I want to continue to be the man that she desires like she did in Capri. I want to continue to stack and transform myself day by day. Question: as you sit back and survey this amazing situation with Danielle and Capri, what is the singular lesson on life you're learning from this stack so far? Becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. That is a powerful statement. It's amazing to watch how skilled you have become at extracting the truth and the power of a singular lesson out of your experience. I have watched you do it now for years, and it is one of the greatest skill sets that you have, and one that everyone else must also master. You see, expansion does not occur without the ability to learn, and the ability to learn comes down to finding the lessons inside of the experiences of life. When you find the lessons, you're able to leverage them and create and produce bigger and better results over and over and over again, but not just limited to the one area that you learned it in. You had a profound experience with Danielle sexually in Capri, and this experience sourced the profound lesson you just shared. Becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. Who would have ever thought that a nighttime of sexual intimacy would have produced a lesson like this? I could pull 1,000 people and ask them to name the source of this lesson, and less than 2 to 3 would even get close. This is the power of lesson extraction. It's a skill you mastered inside of the mega stack, and one that you expanded on in the angry stack, and that you're expanding again now with the happy stack. So now that you have identified the lesson, it's time to take it across the core 4. Are you ready? Just like we did in the mega stack? Yes. I noticed that was not part of the angry stack. No, it is not. We found it works better leveraged only inside the mega and happy stacks, as the angry stack serves a different overall purpose and function. So let's see what you got. The lesson again was, becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. Now let's roll it down. Question: how does that lesson apply to the domain of body? My body is fit and on fire. I'm more fit than I was in my 20s, and I was a collegiate and professional athlete in my 20s. This body I have did not just show up after a year. I've been training my body for 30 years. I started lifting weights when I was 12 years old. I got my first weight set as a Christmas present from my parents, and I would work out every single morning in the garage before I went to school. I never stopped. I had a friend who lost 97 pounds last year. He made a comment to me. You've never known what it is to be fat, have you? I replied, nope. My body has become a weapon over decades, not overweight. Well done. And yes, I have watched you for decades continue to do with your body what most have been unwilling to do. It's amazing to watch the impact you've had with the Core 4 and the body conversation with men all over the globe. So much power in the game leveraged from the physical body. Okay, so let's take the same lesson. Becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. Question: let's apply it to being. My spiritual certainty has come over decades. The first experiences I remember having with God was when I was 8 to 10 years old. Now in my 40s, and for 30 plus years, I've been growing and expanding and challenging the status quo of the story I have about God. I've had to sacrifice, surrender, and let go over and over and over again. From the time I was 19 to now, voice has led me down some very dark paths to find power that I've had to learn to trust the voice and follow it. Decades ago, I didn't trust it. I didn't trust myself. I simply didn't trust. Now, I trust all in. My spiritual certainty is not impacted by any other story of another. I'm free to be me and to allow others to be themselves also. I follow the voice and I follow God. In this, I trust Scripture, pure Scripture to my ears. Let's expand that over to balance. Here is the lesson again. Becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. Question: how does this lesson apply to balance? My marriage. It took 16 plus years, but I now feel 100% connected to my wife. Not overnight, but over decades. 2 years ago, we were talking about divorce and dating other people. 2 years later, here we are on fire. This is joy in my heart for her. This is joy in my soul for her. She is my life partner. She is my ride or die. She is the reason I feel the fire I do. When a couple is both on fire, it is contagious and impossible to ignore. I agree, 100%. Have you noticed that even recently when you and Danielle are in public, there's a magnetic power that is between you two that also draws other people to you? This may even be stopping you in the street and compliment you on this. Yes. In the past 6 to 8 months, that's been happening a ton. Especially when me and my kids are all out together at dinner, it happens even more. Again, this is the power that is available from stacking. It eliminates the bullshit between people and allows them to connect spiritually in a way that is uncommon in normal day-to-day living. By most people, well done. Let's move to business. So take the lesson. Becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. Question: and now I want you to apply it to how your business and bank account operate. 17 years I've been hustling as a businessman. I walked away from guarantees when I was 25 years old, started down a path of self-reliance that would change me forever. I'm finally getting to a place in the game where I feel like I actually know a few things. Not a ton, but a few. Yet that has taken me almost 2 decades to pull off. Imagine me 20 more years. Are you shitting me? My ex-wife's husband is 62 years old. That is 20 years older than me. Larry's a baller and sold his business for hundreds of millions. I'm just getting started down this path. By the time I'm 62, I'll be a billionaire, and my companies will be the type of companies that transform the way we live for centuries. Yes, they will. One of the things I'm most impressed by you is your ruthless commitment to go. This is why I'm entrusting you with these weapons: the Mega Stack, the Angry Stack, and the Happy Stack. These 3 and one more that I am going to share with you have perfected the Angry and Happy Stacks. I know you will do what is required to get these tools into the hands of millions. Most men would ignore me. Most men would ignore the tools. So we have entrusted you with them to take them to millions of men. And the speed that you're going to right now with them is game over. Your ability to do what is required to streamline this process for the men who are coming in the future is crucial. Thank you. Truly, I'm not sure how much I actually chose this, as much as it feels like this thing you're speaking of chose me and I can't shake it. Stacking is like an obsession for me now. I can see that clearly, and I love it. So let's take this home now. Our final stage in the happy stack is to finalize all the learning into one singular revelation. Are you ready? Yes, I am. After spreading the lesson, becoming elite doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades, over the core four of body, being, balance, and business. Question: what final insights or revelation are you leaving this stack with? Patience and appreciation. The past 2 decades, I have built a man I am proud of. The man I was in the past is someone who got me here, but he was a small, weak version of the man that I've become living the Warriors way and leveraging the code, the core, and the stack today. I'm a man now who gets shit done and literally and truly emulates a life that works across all areas of Core 4. I get to appreciate that work and journey. I also get to look forward to the man I'm creating the next 20 years, from 42 to 62. But also, I'm sitting here typing this, I start to think about the man I will become and build from 62 to 82. Holy shit. The magnitude of what I will create in the next 40 years makes my heart speed up, my adrenaline course through my veins. In the end, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Bravo, 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 and bravo. You have completed your first happy stack. What are you feeling right now? I'm feeling joy. I'm just smiling, grinning from ear to ear. As you should be, my brother, as you should be. So here is the game now. You had access to the mega stack for 2 years now, and I have had over 1,000 reps. I gave you access to the angry stack 10 days ago, and you smashed it, and I've just opened you up to the happy stack moments ago. You have access to the trifecta. Now it's time to master the angry and happy stacks like you did the mega. I want you to do one every single day. Over the next 12 months, that will be roughly 360 stacks. It's not the 1,000 plus you did with the mega stack, but those reps will allow you to go further, faster, and more efficient, and with more angry and happy. Okay, but when will I connect with you again? You silly man. You do every single day that you stack with me. Every day we're having a conversation. Every answer you give is a response to a question I asked you. No different than what we have experienced on our flights together the last 3-4 times. I totally understand. When will I be ready for the final weapon? You know, and you will know it when you have had the arrived experience again. Until then, focus on the work. Do the fucking work required. Stack every single day. Angry stack and happy stack. And when the time comes, and the time is right, I will be there to guide you. Guide you to the fourth and final weapon. Thank you. You're welcome. Goodbye. I shut my laptop and sat back up in my seat. I looked across the aisle again at my sleeping wife and now sleeping children. This was my life. European trips, epic sexual encounters, deep love and commitment. Was this really my life? Not a decade ago, I lost everything. My life was crumbling to the ground. And 2 years prior, I was ready to throw in the towel, get a divorce, and shut Wake Up Warrior down. And now here I am, here, in this place, reading this next chapter. I closed my laptop, ordered myself an Irish coffee, turned on an action movie, and sat back to enjoy the remaining 8 hours of my flight.